What's going on? What's going on, everybody? It is the only sports podcast. I'm Will. That's Casino over there. How we doing today, Casino?
I don't know. I mean, we're 40 minutes in on trying to get this going, but yeah,
Yeah.
doing great. Doing
Well,
great.
you know what? We're not gonna let that get us down because you're dressed as Santa, and I have a gift for you today, Casino. And the gift
Nice.
is a brand new intro for the only sports podcast Power Rankings. Get it? Because you're Santa.
Santa.
So it's
Yeah, and it's
Santa.
also
Yeah.
Christmas time. Yeah, I get it. It's pretty
Yeah.
great.
So our theme today, you know how I love the themes. The themes are we're going on a quest to get to the North Pole. So we
Quest
were
to the North Pole. Okay.
yes. So we were supposed to do this on Tuesday. We ran out of time, so instead we're doing it today. And also, you know what? I realized I always give myself funny things in my power rankings, but not in casinos. So today I gave him a little stuff too.
No,
Just a sprinkling.
I thought I was more the traditional power ranking kind of guy, but all
Not
right,
today.
we'll see.
For Christmas, you have been given the gift of oh well, you'll see.
Joy,
Yeah.
joy.
So let's see. First up, Casino, your number 10 pick in your power rankings is the Washington Commanders.
Yep, they've been flirting right on the outside of that all year, and I think they're going to start picking up traction going into playoff time. I like the pieces they have. Jaden Daniels looking sharp again, so uh, yeah,
Yeah, I said at the beginning of the season that I thought they would win one game against the Eagles. I am not picking them to beat the Eagles in what, 2 days, 3 days, or recording
whatever
this
it
on
is.
yeah, that's a Sunday game. So in 2 days, I'm not picking them to beat the Eagles, but if they did, I wouldn't be shocked because again, the Commanders take one minimum every year
Hmm,
from the Eagles. So, yeah. And then my theme casino,
that's it.
I went with movie themes. So my number 10 team is the LA Los Angeles Rams, which takes place in La La Land, right? That's where the
Great
Rams
movie.
are. It is a great movie. Should have won the Oscar. Don't at me. Moonlight was fine, but La La Land was great, and I love that movie. But number 10, my pick is the Rams. There is a weird thing going on with the Rams right now, especially in the media, which is now they're just like, watch out for this team can beat any team in the league and all that kind of stuff because they beat the Bills.
Because yeah,
But the Rams are in the NFC, and I keep seeing stuff like the Rams don't want to play the Eagles, or the Eagles don't want to play the Rams in the playoffs. Like the Rams are healthy. Yeah, weeks ago. Like, why are we acting like it was just like Matthew Stafford, Nakua, and Cooper Cup were all out of that game, but now they're healthy? It's just like, no, they all played that game. They all had pretty decent games, and they still got annihilated in that game. So I love the Rams, but we need to pump the brakes on like the Rams are dangerous. It's like, yeah, you know what the Rams are? They're 8-6, and most of those 6 losses were like pretty bad losses. Like, it's not like they just have like, the Chiefs reverse record right now where it's
right.
just like,
But that's what I think makes them dangerous is on any given Sunday, they can lose to a bad team or beat a great team. So, the inconsistency with that team, you just go into it like, what are we going to get tonight? So that's why I think they would be scary.
yeah. And just to refresh everybody's memory, in the 4 week span, or no, since week 10, they lost to the Dolphins. They beat the your New England Patriots by 4. They lost to the Eagles by 17. They won against the Saints by 7, and they beat the Bills by 2, and then they won against the Niners by 6. So again, it's like what you're saying. It's all over the map, but it's also just like the most impressive win in that stretch is the Buffalo Bills, where they still gave up 42 points.
Yeah.
And then, yeah. So I don't know what to make of this team. All I know is they're 8-6. They're gonna win the NFC West because I have no faith in the Seahawks or the Cardinals or the
Well,
Niners.
any
So
other birds over there? Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Next up, Casino. Your number 9 pick is. I
I don't
mean,
even
we love to
remember.
see it.
I don't remember. I sent these to you on Monday.
Your number 9 pick is the
Oh,
Tampa Bay Buccaneers,
I
which
did
is
pick the Bucks.
this picture of Baker Mayfield is just the Bucks logo on our channel now.
What if they just
Uh,
spray painted that into the middle of the field?
I think people would love it.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
I think I would love
legitimately,
it.
it's fantastic. Yeah, no, the Bucks. That is the team that I think that is on the fringe making the playoffs. Well, I know they're going to win their division, but that's the team that I would not want to play. Like going into playoff time, outside of the teams that we know are good, this is the team that I would be afraid to play. Mike Evans looking great when he came back. It didn't look like he skipped a beat. Baker Mayfield is playing with all the confidence in the world, and then the rest of that team is just scrappy. They're just a scrappy team. They fight every down, every snap. I like them. I like them a lot.
Yeah. And then they are also on my list, but what I was just saying about the Rams have scored 310 points this season and they're 8-6. Tampa Bay Buccaneers have scored 403 points and have the same record. So they've scored 100 more points and allowed 10 more or 10 less points against them than the Rams have. So that's a difference of a net positive for the Buccaneers at 77 and the Rams at -28. So yeah, I agree. The Bucks are actually higher on my list, Casino. So we'll see when we get to them. That's your number 9 pick. My number 9 pick, if I can find this button right here. My number 9 is. This may be shocking to some people, but I actually have the Baltimore Ravens at number 9. Now, each week, I think I had them as high as 3, and this might be the lowest they've been all season. And again, this is nothing against the Ravens, as we discussed on previous episodes. I go week by week. And I'm sorry, but blowing out the Giants, and it's like, oh, Lamar Jackson had 5 touchdowns, like all that kind of stuff. It's like, yeah, the Giants are in contention for one of the top 3 picks in the league. Like, that's what they should do against the Giants. So this is more I like the Ravens. I think they are a legit threat this year. We've already talked about the issues we have with the Ravens defense and all that kind of stuff.
But what
But
Lamar Jackson's doing is just special. It's
he's going to
special.
be, I think he's going to be the best quarterback or the best player stat wise ever to not win the MVP. Like, I
Probably.
don't even think it'll be close.
Yeah.
I,
We got a Travis Hunter Genty situation on our hands.
yeah, exactly. Should he win the MVP? I mean, probably, but also,
Yeah, but then again, what Josh Allen's doing, he's setting records. He's doing things that have never been done in the NFL.
that does sound like Genty and Travis Hunter. But yeah, so the Ravens really just a prisoner of the week and just not playing the strongest competition, but you still have to have them on there. Probably should be higher, but I couldn't justify another team going ahead of them this week. So, Casino, your number 8 is the Baltimore Ravens. And I'm assuming you pretty much have them here for the same reason I do, which is just there's better teams in front of them, and their competition this week was the Giants.
Correct.
So
Sorry, my daughter's asking me a question, but yeah, no, it's exactly that. I just can't justify putting them any higher with their record and seeing them, not close out games that they should close out.
Yeah, and this seems also it's so weird now to look back. There's always, those couple games a year where you're like, how did that happen? And the one I feel like this year is going to where we all look back and just be like, how did that happen? Was the Raiders victory over the Rams or the Raiders victory over the Ravens, right? The Raiders have 2 victories and one of them being against the Ravens is absolutely insane to me. But again, we've talked about it all season. Ravens have the number 1 offense in the league, and it's by I mean, just yards per game, it's almost 20 more points than the second close offense. So that is
That's
just,
insane. That's
yeah,
some insane numbers, especially with how high a lot of these games have been. A lot of
yeah.
high scoring games.
I know. And it's what is it? And then obviously the question marks on their defense. Their defense through week 15 weeks into the season, total defense is at 17. So again, coming off a week where they're playing the Giants, you would hope they would go up. So do I trust this defense? Absolutely not, but yeah, they're 30. Oh, good news. They're no longer 32nd in the league against the pass. They're only 31st.
Oh, well, there we
So,
go. All
yeah.
right,
So,
that's secondary.
next up
Kudos to
for
you.
thank you so much. For my number 8 casino, this is a movie that was filmed in this location, which I just found out about right now, and it's one of my favorites. Night of the Living Dead, the original George Romero zombie film that introduced zombies to the world, was filmed in Pittsburgh. And last week, the Steelers looked like they were all walking corpses in that game. So I thought it was fitting because my number 8 is the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think this might be I would have to check. This might be my only team coming off a loss in my power rankings after last
Hmm.
week. But yeah, the Pittsburgh
Pretty good power
Steelers.
rankings.
I still like the Steelers. Obviously, that game against the Eagles was concerning, but also it's one of those things where when a game like that happens afterwards, everybody goes, "Are the Steelers bad?
Well, that's
Are
also
they
just
bad?
that
Are
they're
they?"
going against, one of the best teams in the league in a state battle. Like this is big. Like
Yeah.
again, this is those kind of games are bigger than just regular divisional games. You know, like that's a rivalry game. That means so
Yeah.
much more.
Oh,
That
yeah.
just
Then
means so much more.
you had like players on both sides. I saw a thing from Russell Wilson being interviewed, and he was like, "Oh yeah, like it means something when it's like interstate rivalries, and I always win those." And then somebody like looked up his stats in college, and he was like undefeated or some crazy thing like that in in-state games. So
It means a lot, man.
yeah, and
I
obviously,
mean, just for instance, like the being rebels, and you have the rebels, and then the wolf pack for Reno up north. Um, there's been many times where the rebel football team, or vice versa with the basketball team, like whichever school is like having a horrible season, but yet they win that game because they pretty just make that game their season, and
yeah.
that's all what everybody looks forward to is that in-state game. So,
And you know what? That game did have a very college feel to it.
oh
It
yeah.
felt like, because obviously, there are AFC, NFC teams, and for being in the NFL,
And
they
those two coaches
shockingly,
have played each other so many times.
yeah, well, yeah, the Steelers and Eagles. I was just gonna say the Steelers and Eagles barely ever play each other, Casino.
Oh,
So
right.
no, they
What was I?
never.
What
You
was
were, I think you were thinking of Steelers Ravens.
Ravens?
I'm
Yeah,
talking,
I'm
yeah.
looking at the Raven right now.
But yeah, Eagles Pittsburgh, not Steelers Ravens. Eagles Pittsburgh rarely ever play each other, which is interesting. But yeah, so my number 8 pick is the Steelers. I still love that defense. I'm glad TJ Watt is not out for the season because he was a game wrecker in that game.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, yeah. I'm
uh,
glad. I'm glad to know that he's not done for the season as well. I mean, because
yeah,
he's on pace to be Defensive Player of the Year
yeah. And in
after
that
After
game,
Aiden Hutchinson went down earlier on this season. Yeah, he stepped up and he's like, okay, I'm going to take that title this year.
yeah, and Steelers, even after a bad game, still 18th in the league in total offense and then 8th in the league in total defense. So one of the best defenses in the league, like a middling offense. But yeah, I trust them. Next up, Casino, your number 7 is
Again, I
Batman.
have Batman,
Batman. But no, I found
Gotham
out that
City.
close. I found out that Michael Keaton was actually born in Pittsburgh. So, and there was the Dark Knight Rises kind of took place in, it had what was it
in
had
Gotham.
Hines Ward. It had Hines Ward running the ball when the field was imploding, so it fits. But your number
Sure.
7 casino is Batman, aka Michael Keaton, aka the Pittsburgh Steelers, who we just talked about. Talk about him.
I still have all the faith in Mike Tomlin and this team. Russell definitely proved me wrong this season in the best way. We know what we're going to get with that defense. It's always good. That organization knows how to stay competitive. They've never had a losing season with Tomlin, and you can see it on his face whenever they lose a game like that. He's pissed. And there was something really great. He was leaving I saw a video. As he was going down the locker room, he was like, "Get this shit off me, get this shit off me." And it was the mic. And then as they were taking off, one of his players was like, "Oh, you were mic'd?" And he goes, "Shut up." just like it's hysterical. Like, so I like his intensity. I like how he takes it very personal that they lost that game. They lose games, and they typically don't lose back-to-back games. So,
Well, they also don't lose to the Ravens ever, which is who they're playing this week. So
I'm really excited for this team, and they are a great team. They are a great team going into playoff time, and they're going to compete every single down, and yeah, it'll be tough to beat them.
Let's go. Next up, my number 7 casino is. Well, where is my number 7? My number 7.
It's on your second hand.
I actually also have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but I have them all the way up at number 7.
Yeah, it's just because you're scared of them.
I am terrified of them. And also, what they did against what I thought was not a Super Bowl contender, but definitely a playoff contender in the Chargers.
A formidable team, yeah.
Yeah,
I told you the Chargers were probably the best team that does not have a chance to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And not only do they go...
Again, that was a hot take, though. That was Colin's take, but I'm just regurgitating it because it was a good take.
Yeah, and then when you look at that game, they go into Los Angeles and win 40-17. That game was a blowout almost immediately. And then what is it? Or it just felt like it was going to be a blowout. Nobody was scoring anything. It was 7-7 going into the second quarter. Chargers come back, score 10. So it's 17-13 going into halftime. Chargers, it just felt off. Like something about that game was just like, I don't know. The Bucs just seem way better, but they're just not moving the ball. And then all of a sudden, third quarter put up 17 points. Fourth quarter put on 10 points. And it was kind of just like, I don't know. That was a weird game, but it also showed just how dangerous this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team is and really has been since Baker Mayfield came to them, because there was that weird middling period after Brady left where they didn't have anybody. And then remember, Baker was like getting passed around the league. He had that one Thursday night game with the Rams, and then all of a sudden he's been on the Bucs.
Yeah, and he got and he wasn't even the first choice. He was the secondary choice. He came in relief and he took care of business.
Yeah, and now they look like, I mean, legitimately, if you want to look at like sleeper teams in the NFL playoffs, everybody's focused on the Lions, the Vikings, the Packers, the Eagles. There's even talks of people.
I mean, they took the Chiefs to OT. I mean, so.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, then there's people making cases for the Rams and being like, the Rams are dangerous. Nobody wants to play the Rams. And it's just like, I feel like everything being said about the Rams should be more so being said for the Tampa Bay Bucs, because again, they're putting on games like this. Like it's impressive. Next up, casino, your number 6 is the Green Bay Packers.
Dude, that young defense is just outstanding. I like that defense a lot. The team loves playing pretty good. Their run game is real nice this year. I like this team. And mainly it starts with that defense. That defense just looks fun, and they want to be out there, and they don't look like they're going to tire down.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Be young again.
And you know what? I agree so much. I have the Packers in the exact same spot as you. I have, and we had to bring him back. The
The pasties.
I have the Green Bay Packers at number 6. They had
Are
also
those pasties? Or are those is that like provolone? I mean, because it is Wisconsin.
Uh, you know what? It can be whatever you want it to be.
Yeah.
But they were one of the teams that, again, for weeks we were just talking like, I want to see them do what they've been doing against bad teams against a good team. And then not only do they smack around the Seattle Seahawks, but they do it in Seattle. So they go up to Seattle, win 30-13. And again, even with Geno Smith in that game, it felt like the Seahawks pretty much from the snap never had a chance. That was a complete domination on offense, defense, passing, rushing, whatever you want to call it. So Packers, again, much like they did last year, just kind of turning it on at the right time. Because remember, last year, this was a team where it was just like, is Jordan Love even a starting quarterback? And then that last,
I mean, I still think he's overpaid. Is he having a good season? Sure, but I think he's still overpaid.
yeah, but I mean, we thought that last year, and then this is the part of the season where they turned it on. They went into the playoffs. They blew out Dallas by 4 touchdowns, and then were 3 points away from beating the 49ers, who were the proverbial like Super Bowl favorite. So, yeah, I just think history's kind of repeating itself with this Packers team, and they're getting hot at the right moment. But yeah, that defense is young. Josh Jacobs has just rejuvenated that rushing attack. So yeah, I really like this Packers team. And again, I've been kind of lukewarm on them all season. And then this
I know you have.
I wanted them to see. Next up, Casino, your number 5 pick.
Again, I have no idea. I forgot.
Timothy Chalamet is performing as Bob Dylan in a movie that's coming out in like a week and a half. And Bob Dylan is from Minnesota.
Dude, you are stretching so hard for this.
So you have the Minnesota Vikings at number 5.
Yes. God damn you.
A
Minnesota
complete unknown. That's the
yeah. I
unknown.
like the Minnesota Vikings.
Don't talk about God damn it. No.
Yeah, that's correct, honey. You're very correct. Gosh darn it. Gosh darn it, DJ. Gosh darn it. But yes,
that's all
the Vikings, they're great. Sam Darnold's looking really good. I like his connection with Jefferson and Addison. I sound like a broken record talking about that. But until he wavers, I mean, and the only time he did was when they played the Lions, and then on a short week, went in and played the Rams. So like, yeah, I like this team.
Yeah. And then also we get to see if they can recreate what the Packers just did, because they now play the Seahawks in Seattle. So back-to-back weeks, the Seahawks get the Packers and Vikings. Vikings right now, 12th in total offense, 12th in total defense, 8th in the league in passing, and 17th in the league in rushing. And then we got blasted on TikTok for saying we wanted to see more from Sam Darnold on that Monday Night Football game. I mean, still on the season, he's almost a 68% completion percentage, 29 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, and Aaron Jones is...
I don't get why we got blasted. I mean, everybody wants to see more,
Yeah, that's true. And also, he just didn't have... He just also didn't have the best game. He had 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and then that game it felt more like the Vikings defense was the ones that shined compared to that. But yeah, Jefferson Addison is a deadly duo, and Aaron Jones is 20 yards away from being on 1,000 yards this season. So Vikings are good. Vikings are good. Next up, my number 5th pick, Casino, is, if I can find it, also the Minnesota Vikings, which
see, now I get that reference. I get the Fargo reference.
Well, don't you know, the Fargo took place in Minnesota.
See, that's an easier one than like,
hey, Bob Dylan was born in Minnesota. So he's from Minnesota,
but doing the whole
Timothy
Chalamet playing him,
him in a movie. He's going to win an Oscar.
One and two together. He's a good actor. I like him. Eh,
Eh.
eh.
Not my favorite. And now he went on game day and like said three things about football. So everybody's like, oh my God, Timothy Chalamet, get him on ESPN, give him Stephen A's job. And it's just like, okay, you
Is he
don't
a Vikings
like
fan? I
uh
mean, I'll actually take him over Stephen A any day. So
apparently he's a Knicks fan.
really,
So,
okay, never mind.
so maybe
Because
he's I don't know. Again, I don't know anything about Timothy Chalamet, and when I watch movies with him, I always just think he looks 11. That's my issue.
he is 11, right?
I think he's 20s something. I don't know. He just looks very
He was
boyish and
born in
young.
2011. Got it.
He was born in 2011.
No, just you said he was
Oh,
in his. You said 20. We said 11. I'm an idiot. Just leave me alone.
let's see how old Timothy Chalamet is. He is. Why is it not saying it? He was born. Oh my God, he was born in 1995. So he's 4 years young.
27.
Yeah. Uh, he looks like he's 12.
27. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But the Minnesota
Moving
Vikings,
on.
yeah, I mean, I just said everything that needs to be said about the Minnesota Vikings. They're good. They played the Packers and Lions to end the season along
Bob
with
Dylan's
the
from
Seahawks.
there. I mean, we got it.
Yeah. So Minnesota Vikings, we've liked them all season. But again, the hurdle for I think us and most people is, do you really see this season ending with Sam Darnold holding up the Super Bowl trophy? I can't see it. I can't see
But
it.
it's possible, man.
That's what I'm saying. It is possible, but I could see like Matthew Stafford. I could see what is it, Baker Mayfield. I could see Jalen Hurts. I
What
could
if
see
Baker
all
got
those.
up and Baker just dressed like that for his like he was like hold on, hold my trophy, and he just goes and puts that outfit on first.
And then he spikes the flag for the Bucks in the middle of the field. That would be fantastic. But next up, Casino, your number 4 pick is the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, there were almost 3 for me. Again, the only reason I have them still at 4 and not up at 3 is they just don't have pretty wins. I know they're winning, but and good teams find ways to win, and that's why they've been in the top 4 consistently. I just can't put them any higher. When watching them, they look like a team that is extremely beatable. And Patrick Mahomes having his worst season ever. And yes, I know they're still winning. I know they still only have the 1 loss, but they should easily have 3 more losses that have nothing to do with the refs, that are just luck went on their side.
Yeah,
You know,
which it always
so
does. Which it
yeah,
always does.
so that's I can't justify putting them any higher than that.
Yeah, they're very unimpressive as a 13-1 win team. Obviously, they're 13-1, and everybody's hyping them up as like they're going to win the Super Bowl again, just based on the legacy of this team. Where Mahomes, Andy Reid, they've already won 3 Super Bowls. They're going for a three-peat to get their 4th. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, you look at Mahomes this season, 67% completion percentage, 22 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, 3,300 yards. It's like those are Sam Darnold numbers. Like
Yeah.
that's not Patrick Mahomes numbers, and it's
Yeah.
definitely not
And
Lamar
I'm not saying
Jackson,
that those
Josh
are bad
Allen.
numbers. I'm just saying those aren't numbers that you expect from Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, especially when everybody just goes, he's the best quarterback in the league. It's not even in question. Like
Right.
it's just like you expect the numbers that Joe Burrow's putting up, right? Like and then them being a 13-1, you'd be like, well, of course, look at the numbers Mahomes is putting up. But their defense still 5th in the league, offense 15th, passing attack 13th in the league, rushing attack 18th in the league. So again, their defense is good. I would say at the beginning of the season, I was like, they have the best defense in the league. Last month and a half of the season, I don't think their defense has really played that well. I
No.
think they're kind of slipping a little, but still, they're a top 5 defense in the league. And with Mahomes, Kelsey, Andy Reid, that's kind of all you need
I
to
think
be
a lot of this has to do with Andy Reid's game clock management and being able to drain out games so they have a chance to win. Andy Reid's a phenomenal at that, at being able to be dealing with the game clock and being able to stretch out games when need be.
Yeah, no, that's true.
He knows how to slow a game down and take momentum away. Whether his team gets it or not, he knows how to take momentum away.
Yeah. And then I am actually I put the Chiefs at 3, and my number 4 casino is actually the Detroit Lions.
I know.
And really, it's only the Lions, fair. And also this is the only other team that lost this week, I believe, was the Lions. And they dropped from last week. They were number 1. They dropped to number 4. Obviously the 3 teams in front of them won games and won big games. So really, they just kind of fell because of circumstances. But yeah,
and the only reason they dropped as much as they did for you, and you just move on to mine, move over to mine. I have them at 3, and I almost put the Chiefs in front of them. And the sole reason on that is their defense, with as many pieces as they are missing. I love that show.
It is very funny.
It is really funny. The only reason, God damn it, the Detroit. But the only reason, again, it's just I've seen less of with the Chiefs. I'm worried about the Detroit defense, and they need to get those pieces back soon. They need to get them back ASAP. Yes, they're going to make the play. They're in the playoffs, all of that. But you want those pieces back as soon as you can get them. You want them to get the reps in. So, again, but you went up against a really great offense with the Bills. So, we'll see here. Because, Jared Goff still crushed numbers, man. Just crushed it. So, yeah, just get some pieces back on defense, and then you guys can move on up again.
Yeah, and also with Detroiters, they gave us maybe the best scene that we've ever seen in the history of television, Casino, which is...
You don't need your Slipknot, man.
Yes, I do. When are you going to use it? Take a shower? You take a shower and sit there? Yes, shut up. You shut
the Any excuse to ever play that clip, I will, because
you don't need your Slipknot mask.
You don't need your Slipknot mask is the best thing ever said on television. It's not even close. Yeah, when it comes to Detroit, we've talked about it in the past. The defense, they added another player this week to IR. I think they're up to 22 is the number right now, which means just by that number alone, they're starting 3rd and 4th stringers on this defense. And guess what? When you watch that team play defense, it's insanely obvious they're started 3rd and 4th starters because, Josh Allen and the Bills, yes, they're one of the best offenses in the league, but they went up and down that field without any issue. And then in any second where Dan Campbell could not put his defense on the field, he tried not to. So That's the head coach telling you right there, our defense is bad. Like when they're trying, he's going for an onside kick when they're down by 10 points with 12 minutes left in the game.
Yeah.
It's sad because, again, coming into this season, the Lions were supposed to have a top 3 defense, top 3 offense, and just be basically what the Chiefs are right now, of 13-1. Speaking of the Chiefs, Casino, they're my number 3. And I know we all remember this character, him from the Powerpuff Girls, because the Chiefs are the devil. And this is me calling them the devil. And I didn't just want to use the same picture of JoJo Siwa. So instead...
Well, that looks like JoJo Siwa.
Well, also, I feel like the Chiefs have gotten to that status right now where we just refer to them as them. And this character was just named him. Remember in the
That's all. No, yeah, no, yeah. I'm very aware of the Powerpuff Girls.
Also, my son loves Powerpuff Girls, so we've been watching it. He's 3. We've been rewatching it. That show's good. It's very funny. It's much funnier, and I'm catching much more jokes than I did when I was a child.
Oh, dude, it's so suggestive. The mayor and his secretary is just phenomenal.
And of course, Casino, without further ado, our number 2 pick what's that in the distance, Casino? Let's run and find it because we're running through the snow as the Buffalo Bills. As
Oh, it's
both,
majestic.
thank you so much. It's
That's a
both of our number 2 pick is the Buffalo Bills after coming off a big win against the Detroit Lions last week in a game that really didn't even feel as close as the score would indicate. It
Right.
really did feel like the Bills just dominated that entire game.
It's very true. Yeah, I have them as number 2. Yes, their defense has me a little worried, but it's had me a little worried all season. But yet they still find a way to win. Josh Allen, when I say they, let me just rephrase. Josh Allen finds a way to win. And yeah, you know what? I've really liked a lot of their pieces, like Knox. I think he's been playing outstanding. Cook, definitely. I thought Cook's been playing a lot better than I expected him to play. So yeah, I like the Bills, and yes, their defense has always had me shaky all season, but it doesn't seem to matter. I mean, especially against you have that high-powered offense with Jared Goff, and he just absolutely crushed it. I think he had 5 touchdowns that game, and they still lost. I think Josh Allen just goes, okay, this is the new standard. Like in game, he's like, okay, this is the new standard that I have to do to win. This is the mark that I have to do to win. And he just adjusts it all game. And he's like, I'm going to do what it takes to win, no matter what. And that's a really scary mentality going. I don't want to play anybody like that.
Yeah.
And that's why I like them this year over the Chiefs. And I know the Chiefs always beat them in the playoffs and the Bills beat them in the regular season. But Josh Allen's attitude this season going from game to game, and it just seems different. He just seems like he wants it way more, and he will do whatever it takes to get there.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And then again, when you look at what the Bills are right now, this basically tells the story, which is they have the 7th ranked offense in the league with 6th in the league in passing, 9th in the league in rushing, and they have the 22nd ranked defense. So right out of my comfort zone in terms of having a defense that can win the Super Bowl. But again, in order to avoid your defense doing that, you need to have a quarterback who's basically having a just unbelievable season, which Josh Allen, 64% completion percentage, 3,400 yards, 25 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. That's not counting. I think he has like 7 or 8 rushing touchdowns as well. So having an unbelievable season, I just think when it comes to that defense, we just have to really just take a step back and be like, is Detroit's defense and Bills defense going to cost these two from winning the Super Bowl?
Yeah, probably.
And I think the answer is most likely, because also, Casino, oh my gosh, we've gotten to the North Pole, and guess who it is? It's our number 1 team on Santa's lap, because both of our number 1 teams, a gift to me this season.
That's a throbbing eagle on Santa's lap. Jesus,
he's just excited. And the reason why is because both our number 1 team is the Philadelphia Eagles, Casino, and that's basically because when the question marks are for the Bills and Lions, they're not the question marks for the Eagles, because currently the Eagles have the number 1 total defense in the league, and number 1 by many, many metrics. And what they did against that Steelers team, again, a Steelers team that most talking heads, I mean, they always do that thing after games like this where they show, every panel on this NFL show that you've never heard of or don't watch, every one of them picked the Steelers to beat the Eagles. And it was not a reverse jinx situation. It was Steelers are a better team and blah, 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 which the Steelers were not a better team. We're not a better team at any point during that game. And the Eagles defense out-muscled the Steelers, which I think is the most impressive thing. Like,
can you go back to that wide shot? Because man, my eyes, they're so
yeah, that's called the dad eyes right there. But
they look like they're sunken in. Look like a freaking corpse.
Also, Saquon Barkley on the year with 3 games to go, Casino, 1,600 or 1,688 yards,
Well, he's
which
already
is
set the Eagles record.
yeah, and I think in 3 games he needs like 425 to set the NFL record. So he basically needs to average around 120 in the last 3 games to get it, which he usually has done most of the season. And the 3 games they play the last 3 weeks of the season are Commanders, Cowboys, and Giants, who all have suspect defenses. So
Oh yeah.
it's possible. Also, Jalen Hurts, the story this week was like, oh, the Big Dom and Brandon Graham went to his house during the bye week to say he had to connect more to his teammates. So that's been running all over the sports media
Get off my
and
lawn.
stuff like that. Well, also, all 3 of those people came out and were just like, yeah, that didn't happen. I don't know where that came from. So again, media, when you do that dumb shit where you go on TV and you're like, why is Jalen Hurts yelling at us? We're just reporting what they said. It's just like, yeah, but you guys also run with shit that you know is fake. So like that's probably why he's yelling at you. But of course it's the Eagles. So, you know, Sirianni was yelling at a coach on the sideline for a 3-second clip. So that means the team hates them and they're falling apart. Even though everybody after that also came out was just like, oh yeah, it was the heat of the moment. We're fine. We like hugged afterwards. But no, we have content. We have to talk about this for 5 days. Annoys the ever living shit out of me. Eagles are winning the Super Bowl this year. Book it, bookmark it. It's going to be Eagles Chiefs, and Eagles get the revenge.
If it is the Eagles again, save me a spot at the table at the bar.
Yeah, buddy.
I'll
Yeah,
come.
buddy. And that right there, Casino, was the only sports podcast power rankings heading into week 16. So while we head into week 16, Casino, we always do our NFL picks update. And you're not going to believe this, but after last week, if I look at the numbers here, I won 12 and you won 10, but you also got correctly your upset pick of the week, which was you picked the Bucks. I picked the Chargers. So you got 2 points for that game. We both got our blowout of the week wrong. We both got our worst game, and I got my upset wrong. We both picked as our best game Bills Lions, which I don't know if it was the best game, but it's in contention. So the one extra point gave you 11, gave me 12. So heading into week 16, we are tied at 143, which is absolutely insane.
I know. Normally, I just blow you out by like 20, and then you
That's
kill
what
me,
I'm
and
saying.
then you beat me in the playoffs.
So this year,
I've
not
just
only
been
are
off.
the
You know what?
Eagles
I blame
winning the
it on
Super
my second kid. I blame it on my
Yeah.
second kid. Having 2 kids, man.
Not only are the Eagles winning the Super Bowl this season, I'm winning the picks this season, Casino.
And then
We're
I'm going to
going.
win the playoffs.
I mean, I would love that. First up, as we always do, our mid-marquee miserable matchups. Today, let's start with the marquee matchups, and we're jumping all the way to Sunday, and then we'll go back to Saturday because the first game in our marquee matchups is
Sunday.
the Eagles that are 12-2 at the Commanders that are 9-5. I thought I would put the records this week so it looks more a fish. Thoughts on this game, Casino, and who you picking?
It could be a trap game. I like how the Commanders have been playing, but again, Eagles are the number 1 team for a reason. They've got the best running back in the league. They have the best defense in the league, and they have top 3, top 4 quarterback in the league. I'm going to take the Eagles. Commanders are good, but they just can't beat the Eagles, and that's fine.
Yeah, I do think that the Thursday night game these two played a month or 2 ago did shed some light on just the talent disparity between these two teams, because I think when you look at the Commanders, people tend to forget like, oh yeah, they got Jaden Daniels because they were such a bad team that they drafted that high. And the Eagles, again, I don't think you can look at any personnel on their side of the ball and you would take anybody on the Commanders over the Eagles if you were just doing roster to roster. That's not saying I don't like Jaden Daniels. I don't like Brian Robinson. I don't like Terry McLaurin. Obviously, I love Zach Ertz because he is a former Eagle, but their offense and defense are good. Their defense has improved all the way up to the 11th best defense of the league, which a couple weeks ago, they were like 25th or 20th or something like that in the league. So for them to jump up that much in a month or two really shows the improvements on that defense. But that's also come with their offense kind of devaluing and devolving. And now they're going, almost potentially losing to a Desmond Ridder led Saints team by 1 point if that 2-point conversion goes in. So yeah, I don't know. Also, if Saints and Commanders went to OT, who's to say that Commanders still come out on top, even though I do think it was the right decision to go for 2. So in this game, I'm not doing reverse jinx. Casino is picking the Eagles, and so am I. I think Eagles win last 3 games of the season and finish 15-2, but I don't know if I would like that or not like that, because I don't like when teams are going on this like unprecedented streak. So they would be at 10 and then win 3 in a row. They would be at 13, a 13-game win streak going into the playoffs. I don't like that. And also, I don't want them to lose to the Giants or Cowboys. So this is the only game of the 3. If they lost this on a last-second field goal, I would be like, okay, good wake-up call. Like, let the Eagles go into the playoffs without this like crazy winning streak. But there we go. Next up, Casino. The 9-5 Texans at the Kansas City Chiefs on Saturday. Patrick Mahomes will be playing. Shockingly, I mean, with that coming in with the leg.
Dude, yeah, that injury was so gruesome. I couldn't handle it, man. But you know what? This is gonna be my upset pick of the week.
Oh.
Go Texans.
What's your rationale for why the Texans will win this game?
Because I want the Chiefs to lose. No, I like again, the Texans, we can't put our finger on them all year, and they've started to play a little bit better again. So maybe they're on the right track of getting figured out going into playoff time. So I'm hoping, and maybe, yes, Patrick Mahomes is playing, but maybe his ankle's just a little sore. Maybe, hopefully.
Yeah. No, as the number one Chiefs
the
podcast in the world.
KC at home right now, they're only favored by 3.5.
Yeah, and I think that line was much bigger when it was Mahomes wasn't going to be playing this game, and it was just going to be Carson Wentz, which I actually would have liked to seen a Carson Wentz led Chiefs team with Andy Reid calling the plays. I think that would have been much more interesting than whatever we're going to get, just for like a 1 game off kind of thing. But yeah,
what would happen if Mahomes did get hurt and Carson Wentz had to come in and he wins the Super Bowl? That would be really funny.
Oh, that would be some nice poetic justice. As an Eagles fan, I always liked Carson Wentz, but they definitely should have stuck with Nick Foles after that Super Bowl ended, because
100%. You were going to name your child that.
I was. And yeah, that was a dumb mistake, but now they got Hurts and everything's good. So next up, but yeah, I'm picking the Chiefs on that one.
That's
next
fair.
up in our marquee matchups, Casino, Broncos 9-5 at Chargers 8-6. I feel like something unprecedented is going to happen in this game, maybe with like a kick or something like that. But obviously we were supposed to record this on Thursday before the game. We are recording on Friday instead. So this game already happened, and I picked Broncos before the game.
And I picked Chargers.
And Casino picked Chargers. So already starting the week off with a victory. So well done, Casino. Well done. Also, just now we can actually just talk about this game, because
this was a much higher scoring game than I thought it was going to be.
Dude, same. I was like, this is going to be like 24-17.
Dude, my coworker, he goes 13-10, and I was like, it seems a little low, but on the right track. And then like it was 13-10 before like the first even ended or whatever it was, and he's like, well, I'm wrong.
Yeah, it was 34-27, which was a pretty damn good game. Bo Nix had a nice bounce back game. 29 for
everybody played well in this game, honestly.
Yeah. Bo Nix, 29 for 40, 263, 2 touchdowns. He also had 25 yards on the ground. Herbert, 23 for 31, 284, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. And then on a penalty or something like that, I don't really even understand what happened, Casino. So they get to kick a field goal that is supposed to be from the kickoff, and it's basically a free kick. Jim Harbaugh did what felt like a 10-minute dissertation on why it's his favorite rule in sports. So basically, Cam Dicker the kicker, got a free kick for it to just go in at the end of half. And it went in, kind of, I don't want to say turn the tide, but kind of gave the Chargers just enough momentum that they held on to the victory at the end. Again, winning by a touchdown. So, yeah, good game, good Thursday night game. I've been shocked by how watchable and how interesting the Thursday night games have been. I don't even like Thursday night games, as we've said many times on this podcast, but the Thursday night games have been good this year. So Casino starting the game up 1-0 because I picked Broncos, he picked Chargers. Next up, the last of our marquee matchups for week 16. And that is the Steelers 10-4 at the Ravens 9-5. Who you got in this one, Casino?
You go first. I want to hear your take.
I think it's I think it's Steelers all day. Pardon me.
Is it just because of the record that they have on him?
Yeah, Lamar Jackson, he's never beaten the Steelers. I don't think this is the game where he beats the Steelers, even though he's playing, out of his mind. We've seen him play out of his mind all season, and yet still when it came to that Steelers game, it was a kicking fest where Justin Tucker missed 3 field goals in that game. I don't know why this game would be any different. It's going to be low scoring, it's going to be ugly, it's going to be a Steelers victory by 1 to 3 points.
And I'm really excited for this because I want Baltimore to win, because then they would have the same records. And I would be really excited to see how that plays out.
So who are you picking?
I'm gonna go Ravens.
Ravens, yeah. So we're both going Ravens. I can't. Why is that not popping up? It's Lamar against the Steelers. Oh, he's beaten them once. So he is 1-4 all time against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And again, we said this the last time they played. In 4 of those games, he has 4 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 5 fumbles, and a completion percentage below 60% with a QBR of 66. And he has been sacked 20 times in those games. So the Steelers, again, I don't know what they do differently that every other team can't grasp, but they know how to shut Lamar Jackson down. Next up, Casino, our mid matchups. And the first one being the Vikings 12-2 at the 8-6 Seahawks. Who you got?
Going the Vikings. I'm going the Sam Darnold show. I know it's on the road, but look, the Seahawks they just got their ass kicked at home as well. So I'm going to pick the Vikings. They're a really good team. And yeah, I think we need to start talking about them because I can see Sam Darnold holding that Super Bowl trophy.
Oh, I don't know if I'm there yet, even though I really like the Vikings. I am the Vikings guy on this podcast. So, but also, yeah, I'm going with the Vikings. I think the Seahawks last week was their chance to show like, oh yeah, we're a real contender in the NFC. And then they just laid a giant egg against the Packers. So it's Vikings all day for me. And then who did you pick against Steelers Ravens, Casino? You picked Ravens, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I picked Steelers. And in this one, we're both picking Vikings. Next up, dare I say, sneaky interesting game for 2 teams that feel like they're 1 week removed from just being out of it. And that is the 6-8 49ers at the 6-8 Dolphins. What should have been the marqueest of marquee games if both these teams did what they were supposed to at the start of the season. I even heard this was a Super Bowl pick for some teams before the start of the season. Now it's just 2 6-8 teams who are probably both out of the playoffs. Thoughts on this one, Casino? Who you picking?
Man, I don't know. I think I'm going to go Tua on this one. I really have no reason for it.
Yeah, I also picked the Dolphins. I thought this would be a game where we differed on, but yeah, both picking the Dolphins. I don't know, the 49ers feel like a lesser Lions team where with injuries have kind of derailed them, but they still have a bunch of key players who just aren't really just not doing it. I mean, you still look at them, they're the 8th total offense in the league, 3rd in total defense. So you would think a top 10 offense and a top 5 defense wouldn't be a 6-8 team, but that's just been the luck of the draw for the 49ers this year. Really, the last 3 games of the season is just going to be should they play Purdy. This year, 15 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 65% completion percentage. Just not, I don't know, just not, definitely not $60 million.
No,
Numbers.
he's 30, 35 tops.
Yeah, I just again, both these teams kind of depressing that this is where we're at this point of the season where it's 6-8. And Tua coming off his worst stretch of games since he came back, and can he bounce back? I don't know. I'm only picking the Dolphins because it's in Miami. But next up are both one of our most favorite dangerous teams to watch, Casino. The Buccaneers 8-6
Oh,
at
thank
the
you. I'm glad you said
Cowboys
that.
6-8. I want the Buccaneers to absolutely destroy this team.
I can't believe that Dallas is still not eliminated and they're 6-8, honestly.
Yeah, especially when you look at Packers and Vikings going to take up 2 of those playoff spots. That seems crazy to me.
Yeah.
But I think they will be eliminated with a loss this week, right?
Yeah.
Like that's
Yep.
how it,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
I do
Go
think they
Baker.
will lose.
And yep, I'm having Baker. He's going to take care of business. They're going to go in there and they're going to whomp on him.
Mollywop on them.
Mollywop on him. And I'm all for it. Let's hit it.
Yeah, I'm picking the Bucks. Next up, Casino, as we roll through these. Lions 12-2 at 4-10 Bears. Again, this should be a womp fest again for the Lions, but with the way the Lions defense has been playing, I think this could potentially be a shootout. I really do.
Yeah, and I'm kind of with you there. And with that being said, though, I am definitely going to pick the Lions because I trust Jared Goff way over Caleb Williams. Not that I think Williams is bad. It's, again, rookie.
Yeah. And the Bears defense is finishing the season with the 32nd ranked offense in the entire league. So they have the worst offense in the league, 31st in the league in passing, 22nd in the league in rushing. Caleb Williams at 2,900 yards. So he'll go over 3,000 yards for the season, 17 passing touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Again, not bad for what this Bears team has been, but again, nowhere near where people were like, he's going to be contending for the MVP race and Bears are going to be Super Bowl contenders, and Bears are 4-10. So coaching matters and offensive line matters. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I do think this will be a little bit of a shootout because again, even though they're 32nd in the league, I still think that Bears offense has playmakers. Lions don't have a pass rush. So with that bad offensive line, I feel like the Packers can put up numbers, or the Bears can put up numbers, but the Lions are just the far better team.
Yeah. Do we know if they're getting any of their defensive players back? I'll have to look into that.
Well, Hutchinson came out in an interview and said that he'd be back by the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And that's, I mean, he said that he even said the champion, the NFC championship game, but
yeah, that's a long way away.
Dude,
that is,
for that injury. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, as far as Lions,
you snapped your leg in half.
Yeah, and also that was gruesome. Next up, Casino, we're moving on to our miserable matchups, and then we'll get out of here. First up, miserable matchup: the 2-12 Giants at the Michael Penix Jr. led Falcons 7-7. Who you got in this one?
I got that big Penix energy. That's what I got. That big Penix energy. I've been waiting all podcasts to say that.
Yeah.
No, I'm going the Falcons on this one. And it's not even so much that I have so much faith in Michael Penix Jr. I just have no faith in the Giants whatsoever.
Yeah. If you had to choose Michael Penix Jr., Kirk Cousins, or the Giants' two quarterbacks they keep dancing between, even throw Daniel Jones in there, I feel like I'm taking Cousins and Penix over all three of those choices.
All day.
So, yeah, I don't. This Giants team is bad. They're 29th in the league in offense, 21st in the league in defense. Falcons team has been falling apart for the last month. Finally made the switch to Michael Penix to try to kind of salvage it and hope the Buccaneers slip up. But Kirk Cousins is cooked. He's 18 touchdowns, 16 interceptions on the year. So I don't know what happened to Kirk Cousins between the first 9 games of the season and the last couple games we've seen him play, but it was the right choice to switch to Penix, and maybe he gives them a spark. I don't know. Even again, finishing 10-7, there's still a chance you get in the playoffs. So
That's true.
yeah, we're both picking Falcons on this one. Next up, Casino. The 7-7 Cardinals are at the 3-11 Panthers. Who you got in this one?
I wanted to pick Panthers, but Bryce Young has disappointed. The last 2 games, I guess, as it's kind of gone down. I don't know, but I'm going to pick Cardinals in this one because they still have a shot at winning that division. So I don't think that they're going to give up hope yet. And with the Panthers being in shambles, I think they just get whomped on.
Yeah, I think the bloom is off the rose with the Panthers. They had that 3-week stretch where they were hanging with the Chiefs, they were hanging with the Bucks, they were hanging with the Eagles, and everybody was like, including us, we're like, oh, maybe there's something here, maybe there's something here. And then all of a sudden they go play a bad Cowboys team and just get the doors blown off them.
Yeah, for some reason I feel like this is going to be a big Kyler Murray game.
Yeah, this feels like the one where he just kind of reasserts himself, especially in the fantasy football playoffs, where everybody's like, oh, I should have started Kyler. Like, this just seems like that kind of game. Bryce Young, 8 touchdowns, 9 interceptions on the season. I know he's only played a handful of games, but I don't know. I don't know what they do with him. I still think he might be a starting quarterback because, again, we've seen flashes, but who knows? But yeah, we're both picking the Cardinals. Next up, Casino, the 3-11 Titans at the 6-8 Colts. This is my upset pick of the week. I'm picking the Titans to win this game, and it's also my pick for worst game of the week. So I have a lot riding on this game. I just don't. The Colts. Again, same thing kind of happened with Bryce Young, where we just were like, oh, maybe the benching for Anthony Richardson will like lead to something good. And then he comes in, and with Bryce Young, it's like, I don't know if he's a starting quarterback or not in this league, but there's still a question. Anthony Richardson 100% is not a starting quarterback in this league. Do you want to guess what his completion percentage is on the season?
43.2.
A little bit better. He has a 47% completion percentage. So in the NFL, where 60% is standard, he's 13% worse than the standard for just like a starting quarterback. We're not talking
way too many picks too.
Yeah, he has 7 touchdowns, 11 interceptions on the game. Jonathan Taylor last week did the dumbest play in sports where he dropped the ball before the goal line. I don't know what's going on with this Colts team, but I just feel like I saw.
When Taylor was like the guy.
Yeah, I
forgot about him.
But yeah, Mason Rudolph looked good last week. This Titans team still has a good defense. They're technically still the second best defense in the league. I just think this has all the makings of Titans go Indianapolis and just win. Win.
That's fair. I picked Colts in the TikTok. I'm gonna stick to it.
All right. Lot riding. That could be a potential 3-point swing in this pick for that Titans Colts game, Casino.
Yeah, but for worst game of the week, no, I got the worst game of the week.
Next up, the 8-6 Rams at the Jets 4-10. This could be sneaky interesting because now Aaron Rodgers has nothing to play with, but making sure the Jets don't get into top 5 category for to pick in the NFL draft. Yeah. So really, this is all riding on Aaron Rodgers.
Rodgers is petty enough to win this game just to fuck with the Jets because he's not coming back. He's done. They're going to move off of him.
Unless they can't get another quarterback, and then he's just default the starting quarterback. That's my
I don't.
pick.
That's okay. That they might not be able to get rid of him or get anybody else, but he's not going to play for the Jets anymore. Like he will just be like, I'm done.
Yeah,
Like
I
he
mean,
will not play with the Jets. He'll go and sit somewhere and do something. Go have some ayahuasca.
but see,
and
so that
have a
also
good day.
means the last month of the season is basically his audition tape for other teams. So he
No,
needs
it's
to
not.
play
No,
well.
his audition tape is he will sit down in a board meeting and he'll be like, "Hey, I'm Aaron Rodgers," and he'll just sweet talk him, and everybody will be high on ayahuasca and be like, "Oh yeah, let's pick him."
Also, I don't know if you saw the clip where on the Pat McAfee show, he was like,
Oh, he was
listen,
on the Pat McAfee show. Shocker.
I know, but he was like, "Hey,
2 tool
just so
bags.
you know, if you what is it? If you want to talk about me, like first list your vaccination status or whatever. I got the shot when it first came out to go to Universal Studios. And then we went to Universal Studios and we showed them the paper and they were like, "Oh, you guys didn't need to get the shot because we don't have that many people today." And then we were like, "But it's all over your website like 90 times." And then the guy was just like, "Oh yeah, that's just when we're busy, but we haven't really been busy since COVID." So then after that, me and my wife were like, "Never again. We're not getting another shot for anything because it's not going to matter in a year." And then turns out it didn't matter then. It doesn't matter a year later. Like everybody who's like, I've gotten the shot has gotten COVID like 12 times. And
Yeah.
just so again, I don't dislike Aaron Rodgers because of the dumb shit he says with like the vaccine and the ayahuasca and all that stuff. I don't like Aaron Rodgers because he's annoying.
Yeah.
You can be
I
annoying.
love this that I'm not the one that has to talk shit about him today.
He just talks with like this arrogance of like, well, obviously I'm the smartest person in the world.
Yeah,
And
he's
then it's
Aaron
just
Rodgers.
like, yeah, it's
That's what I'm saying is he's not going to have an issue getting onto a team because people are dumb enough to listen to his words.
classic
There's other dumb franchises out there that will take him.
classic older guy who has no kids and isn't married. So then they just become this weird, like, I've
wouldn't-
never had to care about anything in my life. And then they just become an asshole. Like
Yeah.
everybody's worked with those type of guys.
Yeah.
But that was our Aaron Rodgers rant because I saw that clip and I was like, what a douche. Just
Yeah.
a douche, just annoying. He'd be one of those guys where your friend would bring him to the bar and like 10 minutes in, you'd be texting your friend being like, this guy's annoying. Like, why did you bring him? That's who Aaron Rodgers is. But hey,
But neither
I
one
mean,
of us would be hanging out with Aaron Rodgers or Pat McAfee. So
oh God. I mean, I would rather hang out with Pat McAfee. That's saying
I would
something.
too. 100%.
Again, Pat McAfee's annoying because he's like frat boy guy. Aaron Rodgers is annoying because he thinks he knows everything when you're just like,
He's that actually guy.
yeah, he's every YouTube comment. That's who Aaron Rodgers is. But with that being said,
Moving
I'm picking
on.
Rams. You picking Rams as
Yeah.
well? There was our Aaron Rodgers rant. Enjoy. Next up, Casino. Browns 3-11 at Bengals 6-8.
I'm going with the Bengals. If I'm not wrong, they hold the balance, right? If they win out, they have a shot of making it.
Yeah, I think it's one of those weird playoff scenarios where it's like they have to win out, and then these two teams have to lose one of their last 3 games, and it's like that kind of thing. So,
Well, there's a shot, there's a chance, and I think Joey B is going to get it done.
yeah, after what we saw from the Browns last week and what we've seen from the Jameis Winston-led Browns, which was like what always happens with Jameis Winston, where he starts fun and then progressively gets less fun each week. I'm going Bengals as well, but this game is going to be like the Rams Bills game where it's going to be like 45-42. So I'm still picking the Bengals to come out on top because why not?
Why not?
Last 3 games we got here, Casino. Your team, 3-11 Patriots at Bills. This your upset pick, right?
No, this is my blowout.
Oh yeah. When you said you had your blowout, like, yeah.
Yeah, this is my blowout of the week, easily, 100%. Oh no,
I
my
don't think I
computer is
have.
almost out. We gotta hurry. I don't want to go find my charger.
You know what? This is my blowout of the week too. I don't have a blowout of the week. But yeah, the spread on this game is what, 14 and a half.
I mean, there's the Monday night game. I'm picking Bills. You're picking Bills.
Yeah. Next up, this is your worst game of the week, is it not?
Yep.
Jaguars 3-11 at 2-12.
Let's go Raiders, because if Raiders win, Patriots move into. I believe Patriots will move into that second spot. So let's go.
Not my worst game of the week. I think this will be shockingly watchable. But yeah, I actually picked the Jaguars. So you picked the Raiders, I picked the Jaguars. So again, a lot riding on these bad games. Monday night casino, it is the 5-9 Saints.
This was the other potential blowout of the week, because you got Packers -14 against the Saints in Lambeau. And I do think the Packers are going to womp on these Saints, just absolutely annihilate them. This defense is going to eat this team up.
You know what? Just to be different, I'll switch this. This will be my blowout of the week.
Fair enough.
Then we just don't cancel each other out with the Bills Patriots. So I'm picking the Packers as well. Yeah, I saw everything I like from the Packers, and I think they just continue to assert their dominance. But with that being said, Casino, that's all our picks. The difference in games we have this week is the Chiefs Texans, Broncos Chargers, which already happened, Steelers Ravens, Titans Colts, and then Jaguars Raiders. So yeah, I believe that's 4 or 5 games, 4 left. So there we go. This has been the Only Sports Podcast. Sorry we were a day late and the show was weird, but a lot going on before the Christmas season.
Oh yeah.
Which also
my entire family has been like my immediate family here at home, my kids, my wife, myself, we've all been on and off sick. And then my actual family, my parents, my brother's kids and family, everybody's just been on and off sick for the last month. And it's just been hell.
Yeah. And next week on Tuesday is Christmas Eve. There will be a show. I'll talk to you about that, Casino. But my camera's going all crazy.
That means it's time to go.
Yeah. This has been the Only Sports Podcast, as I am zoning out on my camera's just there we go. I'm Will. That's Casino over there. We'll see you on Sunday. Adios.